Vicky Donor becomes a big hit, it gets seen a little more like Ayushman's film and Ayushman's breakthrough. His career literally takes off like a rocket from there, but you wait for a bit. That success of that film, why didn't that translate into immediate success for Yami Gautam?
Yami Gautam is now a national award-winning actress. From films like Vicky Donor to A Thursday, from Uri the Surgical Strike to Bala, Yami Gautam has slowly and steadily built a reputation as one of the most dependable performers in mainstream Hindi cinema. And now she has won the National Award for Best Actress for her performance in Article 370. But believe me when I say this is just the beginning, because in all likelihood, she will again bag the National Award for Best Actress for her performance in the movie Haq, further solidifying her ability to hone her craft and deliver powerful performances.
बिरयानी है, शीर कोरमा नहीं है, ज़बान कर बहुत सवाब का बहुत बरकत होगी। अपार शौहर है हमारे।
Now, before I talk about Yami Gautam's journey, I want to point out that what makes her career different is that her public image has remained relatively connected to her work. I'm not saying she has no publicity. Every actor today needs some sort of publicity. Every film needs interviews, promotions, trailers, songs, and media coverage. But there is a difference between promoting a film and turning your entire celebrity identity into a daily performance. Yami has not built her career around constant public visibility. She has not needed to make every personal moment part of the entertainment cycle.
I also have a social media account, but it's a very conscious decision that I don't want to tell you what I ate for breakfast. I don't want to tell you that I got injured in gym yesterday. I don't want to tell you anything. The less you know about me, the easier it is for me to convince you about the role I'm playing.
The conversation around her usually returns to the films she has worked in. People talk about her performance in Article 370, they discuss her role in A Thursday, they talk about the contrast between her work in Bala and Uri. They debate her choices in Haq. That is not accidental, and it comes from the fact that her works keeps giving people something to discuss. But if you go back a few years, the industry did not look at her this way. Before Yami Gautam became a familiar face in Hindi cinema, she was a young girl from Chandigarh who wanted to act. She did not enter Bollywood through the most predictable route. A major production house did not launch her. Her father Mukesh Gautam was a filmmaker in Punjabi cinema, so it would be inaccurate to describe Yami as somebody with absolutely no connection to the film world. But she still did not come through the kind of mainstream Bollywood family network that gives an actor immediate access to the industry's best opportunities. She had to build her path, and that path started with modeling, advertisements, and television. Yami appeared in television shows like Chand Ke Paar Chalo and Ye Pyar Na Hoga Kam. She also became recognized through advertising work, so by the time she entered films, people already knew her face. And for a very long time, Yami Gautam was treated as a pretty face who had come from television and advertisements.
आपका अकाउंट इसी बैंक में है ना?
Obviously.
तो आप और मैं फ्रेंडशिप कर लेते हैं। एनओसी दे दो, मेरा काम सेट हो जाएगा।
सर मैं आपको जानती नहीं हूँ।
But knowing someone's face is not the same as knowing what they can do as a performer. That is where the first challenge began. She made her film debut in Kannada cinema with Ullasa Utsaha, and then came the film that changed her position completely, Vicky Donor. When Vicky Donor released in 2012, it was a very unusual yet brave film for mainstream Hindi cinema. It dealt with a taboo subject that had social awkwardness in a way that was funny but still emotionally grounded. Sujit Sarkar's writing had strong characters and the conviction to discuss a subject most Hindi films would have avoided. And Yami Gautam fit perfectly into that world. She played Ashima Roy, a woman who was not written only as a hero's romantic interest. She had her own family, her own emotional conflict, and her own response to the situation around her. That mattered because Vicky Donor could have easily become a male comedy where the female character existed only to react to the hero's decisions. Yami brought calmness to the film and made Ashima feel like a real person. The film became a major success. It received critical appreciation, connected with the audience, and introduced Yami Gautam as a fresh new face in Hindi cinema. At that point, the expectation was simple. She would become a regular part of the new generation of leading actresses. Directors would see her potential and offer her more varied roles. Vicky Donor gave her the opportunity, but not the career she expected. The momentum became inconsistent. The right roles did not keep coming. Yami was often placed in conventional romantic take parts, glamorous roles or films where the writing did not give her enough space to make an impression.
There are times where I feel, did I really have to do that? Why couldn't I just...
She appeared in films like Total Siyappa, Action Jackson, Sanam Re and Batti Gul Meter Chalu. The problem was not that every film was automatically terrible. The problem was that these films did not create a clear identity for her. And because she did not have a Bollywood godfather constantly sending her the best scripts, she had to keep working with whatever opportunities came her way.
You gotta keep the ball rolling, you gotta keep working, you keep expecting, okay, is kaam se kuch ye nikal kar aa jayega.
Yeah, I think
You
that's
never know. That is the whole idea.
That is a part of Yami Gautam's journey people often forget, and instead of turning herself into a loud celebrity personality, she quietly worked her way out of that box. First with Kabil, which was an extremely challenging role for the actress, and then Uri the Surgical Strike changed everything and gave her the image makeover she needed.
ज़्यादा नाटक किया ना तो तेरे अखरोट तेरे मुंह से बाहर निकाल दूंगी.
In Uri, Yami Gautam played Pallavi Sharma, an intelligence officer involved in a dangerous and highly sensitive operation. The role was not designed around glamour, it was not there to provide a romantic track. It was not written to give Yami a series of decorative scenes between the action sequences. She was part of the machinery of that story. That was important because the audience saw her in a completely different context. Yami was no longer simply the fresh face from Vicky Donor. She was no longer being presented as the conventional Bollywood heroine. She was playing a character with authority, intelligence and purpose. And Aditya Dhar gave her something the industry had not given her consistently before: dignity. That word is important. Sometimes an actor does not need a bigger role. They need a better written role. They need a character who is treated seriously by the screenplay. They need the director to understand that their presence can add weight to the film instead of simply adding glamour. Yami did not need to shout in every scene to prove that Pallavi was powerful. She played the character with control. She understood the film's tone and did not try to turn the role into a separate performance showcase. She became part of the film's emotional and political world. And because Uri became such a major success, the audience finally started looking at Yami Gautam differently. This is one of the strange things about the film industry. An actor may already possess the talent, but sometimes the audience needs one particular role to recognize it. Uri was that role for Yami Gautam. It did not suddenly create her talent, it made the talent visible. Now pay attention to what happened after that. Yami did not use Uri to return to the same old image. She used it as a turning point. She started choosing projects that challenged the assumptions people had about her. And the next important step was Bala, which showed that Yami could laugh at her own image.
दिखाओ.
मेरी बात तो सुनो एक बार.
On paper, Yami Gautam did not seem like the obvious choice for Bala. People had already started seeing her as the serious actress from Uri. Her image had shifted from pretty and familiar to dignified and intense. Then Amar Kaushik cast her as Pari Mishra, a character who is obsessed with beauty, filters, fair skin and the image she projects to the world.
A lot of people said that verbatim and could tell that, no, how can she do comedy? Oh, it's not possible.
It was almost reverse casting. The audience expected Yami Gautam to play another serious, controlled character. Instead, she played a woman whose entire identity was tied to appearance and social performance, and Yami committed to the absurdity of the character. She did not play Pari as if she was embarrassed to be in a comedy. She understood that the character was funny, but she also understood why Pari behaved that way. The humor came from the gap between the perfect image Pari wanted to present and the reality underneath it. That is what made the performance work. Yami was able to make the character ridiculous without making her empty. This is where her comic timing became important. She was not simply delivering funny lines, she was reacting to situations, maintaining the character's self-belief and allowing the audience to see the insecurity beneath the confidence. That performance did two things for her. It showed that she was not trapped inside the serious image created by Uri, and it showed that she was confident enough to make fun of the very image that had shaped her early career. And there is a certain freedom in that. An actress who is constantly protecting her glamorous image may hesitate to play a character like Pari, but Yami was willing to look silly, vain, insecure, and completely over the top. That willingness matters because once an actor stops trying to look perfect in every scene, they become more interesting to watch. Uri gave Yami authority, Bala gave her range. From that point onwards, she stopped waiting for the industry to tell her what kind of actress she was. She started showing the industry herself, and then came a Thursday which proved she could carry a film herself.
कि तुम पागल हो.
Really? तो मेरा असली पागलपन अब देखना.
A Thursday gave her the role of Naina Jaiswal, a school teacher who takes children hostage. It was the kind of premise that immediately creates questions. Why is she doing this? Is she a villain? Is she a victim? But Yami was constantly challenging herself to break the mold of formulaic acting. Experimenting with her craft became her niche, and her performance in A Thursday was a completely different type of performance. The role required her to control the audience's understanding of the character. She could not reveal everything immediately. She had to keep the tension alive while also making the audience emotionally curious what was happening inside her mind. And sometimes that is difficult to do for any actor. In a film like A Thursday, the actor has to carry long stretches of the story. The audience cannot depend on a major co-star to keep the film alive. The actor's face, voice, timing and emotional shifts become the main source of energy. Yami handled the role with restraint and did not reveal the character's complete emotional reality too early. She allowed the audience to remain uncertain. Then slowly your understanding of her begins to change. That shift only works if the actor has control. If she had played the character too loudly from the beginning, the mystery would disappear. If she had played her too softly, the tension would not have worked. Yami found the perfect balance, and this is where her career became so much more interesting. She was no longer just waiting for a great male co-star or a major theatrical franchise to make her relevant. She was proving that she could become the central reason people watched a film. That is what separates an actor with potential from an actor who has developed real professional confidence. Now, A Thursday was not a perfect film. The film had areas that could have been stronger, but Yami's performance made it clear that she could hold the audience's attention for an entire film. And that was another old assumption she was quietly breaking to a phase which I like to call the one-woman army phase.
जिसने कभी ना कभी इंडिया के खिलाफ कोई हरकत की, we will arrest each one of them.
At least put on into hundreds.
No, not hundreds. Thousands.
After A Thursday, Yami's choices became much more interesting. In Chor Nikal Ke Bhaga, she entered the thriller space. In Oh My God 2, she became part of a socially relevant film. Again, she was not simply choosing roles because they looked glamorous. She was choosing material where the subject itself created a conversation. And then came Article 370.
If she doesn't like it and she says no to your script, then you better go back and check your script again and work on it. Because if she's saying no to it, then there is something which is genuinely not going to connect with the audience.
By this point, Yami had already gone through several different versions of herself on screen. She had been the romantic lead in Vicky Donor, she had been the glamorous actress people underestimated, she had been the intelligence officer in Uri, she had been the comic performance in Bala, and she had been the mysterious lead in A Thursday. In Article 370, she became the emotional and dramatic center of a politically intense film.
हम लोगों और पीएमओ के कुछ कोर मेंबर्स के अलावा प्राइम मिनिस्टर सर के पीए तक को नहीं पता होना चाहिए कि हमारा प्लान क्या है.
As Zuni Haksar, she played an intelligence officer working inside a high-stakes operation. The film had a large political subject, but Yami's character gave the story a personal face. That is why her national award for the performance is such a big moment in her career. The award did not arrive out of nowhere. It came after years of being underestimated, accepting imperfect opportunities, trying different genres, and slowly learning what kind of material allowed her to stand out. That is why I do not see the national award as a sudden career transformation. I see it as the industry finally acknowledging a transformation that had already been happening.
कह रही हैं कि शरीयत के तरीके से दिया गया तलाक लागू नहीं है.
इन्होंने कुरान पढ़ा ही नहीं और शरीयत शरीयत बोल रहे.
And in 2025 came Haq, where Yami played Shazia Bano, a woman fighting for justice after being abandoned by her husband and denied financial support for her children. The role demanded emotional pain, social pressure, and a very different kind of vulnerability. This was not the polished image of a Bollywood heroine. This was a woman dealing with humiliation, anger, fear, and the need to keep fighting even when the system is designed to silence her. Yami's performance in Haq matters because it continues the same direction she began with A Thursday and Article 370. She's choosing characters who are not simply there to be admired, they are there to be understood, and that is the biggest change in how people look at her right now.
जब तक ये स्पेशल स्टेटस है, हम उन्हें हाथ भी नहीं लगा सकते और वो लोग हमें आर्टिकल 370 को हाथ लगाने नहीं देंगे.
The reason Yami Gautam deserves this recognition is not that she has never made a wrong choice. No actor has that kind of career. She deserves it because she kept correcting the direction of her career. This is why I do not think Yami Gautam's success is only about one film or one director. Aditya Dhar gave her a very important opportunity with Uri. That film changed the way the audience saw her, but Yami still had to make the right decisions after that film. And over time, she proved that Uri was not not an isolated moment. The national award does come with pressure. Yes, a recognition many actors spend their entire lives trying to get. So it will be interesting to see the next phase of her career. I hope she continues to be selective and continues to trust her instincts because she is a damn good actress.
Goddamn right.
That is my take on Yami Gautam's career and why I believe she deserves far more respect than she usually receives. What is your favorite Yami Gautam performance? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't already and check out our latest video on my favorite Wire of Spy Universe film right here. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.